there. I'd like to talk about some barriers to success today. Growing and developing internally so that this may eventually lead you to being successful externally, confident in living out your goals and dreams. Look, it's not an easy process, but certainly rewarding and well worth the journey. This won't happen overnight and it will take time, but the rewards are immense. If you pursue this path that I've talked about in my videos, you could well end up doing things in your life that earlier on you wouldn't have dreamed possible. This has certainly happened to me. There are a couple of huge barriers to truly becoming successful. This is our belief system and our thinking, and it often gets in the way. I know my thinking has been one of my worst enemies. In the past, I've looked at my internal problems and really just wanted a cure, an instantaneous cure. Or at the very least to feel relieved of that internal pain and sadness. I found by medicating my reality and pain away externally by taking drugs gave me the instant gratification I needed, or that I really felt I needed. I found this type of thinking and action is common and stops people really growing. Often people don't necessarily go down the path of substance abuse that I did, but they certainly look externally for some relief rather than focusing on changing internally. This often ends up being an addictive process. You know, for example, substance abuse, which I've talked about a lot, but gambling, alcohol, cigarettes, comfort eating, constantly finding new relationships to medicate that pain away, shopping and spending money that you don't have, or even working to the point that it becomes an addiction. We often end up by attaching a holic to the end of these terms like workaholic, shopaholic. You've often heard this, I'm sure. Secondly, we look for instant gratification through these processes rather than keep on the path looking for the long-term gains, which are ultimately so much better than the short-term fixes. It's like having an infected arm and putting a bandage over it. Just because it looks nice on the outside and you can't see the wound doesn't mean it's okay. What really needs to happen is the wound needs to be thoroughly cleaned and taken care of. It's more painful in the moment, but it's a must. Just the same as cleaning up internally, this process can be slow and often painful, but the long-term rewards are enormous. Sadly, in the moment, there seems to be no real gains or rewards, so we often give up and go back to our old ways, which in the moment seem to provide some sort of relief. But these processes stop us having the real rewards and success that we could have. I can remember after rehab and going to this community recovery group and hearing some of the phrases used, they seemed to be so obvious, but having them drummed into me at an early stage in recovery was really good for me. They would say things like, live one day at a time, keep it simple, let go and let God. Keep your eye on the goal. Using is never an option. Choose the long-term rewards rather than the short-term fix. They used to say things that seemed to be so almost humorous to me, but blindingly obvious. If you don't want a haircut, don't go and sit in the barber's seat, or don't go to slippery places if you don't want to slip over. You know, a quitter never wins and a winner never quits. With such rudimentary, simplistic rules really to follow, it was surprising to me how few really kept with the program and stayed on the path. Look, it is human nature that when things get really tough, we all want to give up, or at least go back to what we know works in the moment. But there was truth in what was said, and staying on the path and sticking to it in the long run is the only way to true freedom and real ultimate happiness. How do we maintain and grow into our true potential, becoming the successful people that we're really meant to be, and that we don't relapse? Look, I'd love to say there's one magical cure-all, but there isn't. But I've found some successful strategies that have worked for me. The first thing you need to ask yourself honestly is, do I want to live beneath my true potential, or do I want to embrace a life of change which will give me a far greater long-term rewards? If the answer is yes, I want a better life and I want to start this journey, great. That is the most important step, along with acknowledging and taking ownership of your problems and your emotions and how you feel, and not blaming others. Look, you really have to get desperate to want to change. So much so that the pain of staying where you are looks worse than the pain of change. Now that you've made this decision to take the road less travelled, be prepared to eliminate those short-term strategies that have given you instant gratification and accept the pain of change for the long-term rewards. Start with small changes and doing things that interest you, that will really replace those addictions or bad habits that you've had. Find fun or healthier activities that you like. For instance, there's all sorts of things you can take up and replace: swimming, tramping, canoeing, maybe getting a dog and walking that dog, music, learning to play an instrument. For me, I joined a gym and got into working out. The money that I was spending on using, I was now able to save money, and I bought a motorcycle. It wasn't the ultimate that I wanted, but it got me on two wheels and it was something else to enjoy. I watched movies, I read books, I made recovering meetings a huge part of my life and helped and encouraged others on their journey. Also, begin to ask yourself, what would you really like to do and achieve in your life? Look deep within at your talents, at your gifts, and what you're naturally good at. Be bold and outrageous. Don't sell yourself short. Once you have a clearer picture of your goals and dreams, write them down. It never ceases to amaze me how little and how few people there are that actually write their goals down. Look, it only takes a moment. I really cannot stress the importance of this strongly enough, because when you write them down, they become real and tangible. There could be quite a few possibilities, even if they seem unbelievable or outrageous. Write them down in the easiest way that's possible for you. I find putting them in the phone, in my mobile phone, is the easiest for me. That way they're always with me and I can tweak them as I go. I can't state even how important this is. I know I'm going on about this, but it is so important. You have to be going forward and the path needs to be clear. You cannot have hope if you're just drifting. And if you are drifting, you probably will drift back into your old behaviours. Another good one is what we call a dream map. It's where you get pictures of what you want and where you ultimately see yourself, and stick them on a board. But however you want to put your goals down, write something down somewhere. Now that you've put them down in writing, they have become real. And these are your goals, your hopes and dreams, and no matter how big they are, this will give you hope and a focus. So every time you pick your phone up, your journal, your notebook, there they are. As you start to travel towards these goals, taking small daily steps, they will eventually start to happen. You may need to tweak as you go, or drop one off that hasn't worked, or replace it or change it. At the beginning, don't tell everybody about these because they're personal to you and others may not understand. My goals I have written on my phone are, some of them are outrageous, but I keep them to myself. But my attitude is that I will never reach the stars that I'm aiming for. And look, if I only get to the mountaintop, it's still a lot better than not having a goal and not having a dream. And it gives me hope and a focus and keeps me moving forward. If your problems have become addictions, then you will need help. And there are plenty of anonymous groups out there that will offer help, encouragement, and lovingly hold you accountable and keep you on track. Look, at the start it will be hard. As you build momentum, things will get easier, and achieving some goals brings real joy to your life. The most important things are continuing really to deal with that internal stuff. And you will see on my videos, I talk a lot on this. As you develop internally, this will naturally flow externally and the momentum will continually build. You will surprise yourself at what you can and will achieve because inside there is an amazing, unique person. You can now start moving forward with direction that will bring you hope and happiness and some long-term amazing results. I met this kind of rough guy all tattooed up and he looked like, I wondered whether he even had a job or much going on in his life particularly. We started chatting and he said to me that though he was brought up in a rough home, but his mother had installed a belief from a young age that he could do anything he put his mind to and that nothing was impossible. And this was sown in at an early age and really was part right deep within his core as a belief. He said he was doing this labouring job which he didn't like, so he decided just for a challenge that he would do just 1 year of a medical degree. He did this and got by and passed, so he decided to have a crack at another year and he passed that. And look, long story short, he eventually became a doctor. And then he decided on a speciality and now runs a whole clinic in a major hospital with doctors and registrars under him. This started with a simple goal and a dream of 1 year of study. Was it easy? No. But look at the rewards now compared to staying in his labouring position. And this is just an example of so many out there, including myself. In our lives we naturally look to find happiness and to seek and avoid pain at all costs. We have to change our attitude and realise that true growth can be painful, but it leads to real freedom and happiness. And anything really worthwhile in life takes time and perseverance, but comes with great rewards. We have to realise we can't have both instant gratification in those old dysfunctional processes and also ultimately have true freedom and success at the same time. It's one or the other. Keep yourself busy and read and watch positive material that will help build your motivation and give you strength. As we embark on this challenging pathway to success and achievement, remember, anything of real value will require determination and real perseverance. A beautiful diamond is formed under pressure. And with God's help and with some guts and determination, you can do it too.